Welcome back to It Starts with Clarity. I'm Ellen Gibson, founder of Pivot Point Me, and each week we come together to have real conversations about those moments in life when we find ourselves at a crossroads, when something is changing, when we're searching for direction, or when we simply know there's another level waiting for us. And, as I always say, clarity doesn't necessarily mean that we know exactly how everything is going to turn out. Clarity means we know enough to take the next step. Today, I want to talk about two ideas that have been on my mind. You can't get so hung up on where you'd rather be that you forget to make the most of where you are. And take a break from worrying about what you can't control. Those may sound like two separate ideas. I don't think they are, because both of them ask us to do the same thing, to come back to the present, to come back to this day, to come back to this moment, to come back to what is actually yours to do now. I work with so many people who are focused on getting somewhere else. When I get the new job, when the business finally takes off, when this relationship gets better, when I retire, when I have more money, when this situation gets resolved, when I finally know what I'm supposed to do, then I'll be okay. And there's nothing wrong with wanting something different. You know how much I believe in vision, I believe in dreaming, I believe in setting intentions, I believe in looking forward and asking ourselves, what's next? But there's a difference between moving towards something and refusing to enjoy your life until you get there. Sometimes we become so focused on the destination that we unconsciously decide that where we are right now isn't good enough. This part doesn't count. This is just the in-between. This is just something I have to get through. But what if it does count? What if this isn't simply the hallway you're walking through on the way to your real life? What if this is your life? Marcus Aurelius wrote something incredibly simple in his book, Meditations. Confine yourself to the present. I love the simplicity of that. Not tomorrow, not next year, not what happened 5 years ago, not what somebody else might decide, not all the scenarios that our mind can create, but just the present. Marcus repeatedly returned to the idea that the present moment is the only portion of life we actually possess. And think about that. We spend enormous amounts of emotional energy on two places where we can't actually live, the past and the future. We replay the past and we rehearse the future. Meanwhile, the present is quietly passing us by. I think sometimes we treat certain seasons of our lives like waiting rooms. We're waiting for something to change, waiting for someone to make a decision. We're waiting for more clarity. We're waiting for the money. We're waiting for the opportunity. We're waiting for that relationship. We're waiting for that next chapter. And while we're waiting, we emotionally put our lives on hold. But I want you to consider something. You don't have to love everything about where you are to find something to love while you're here. That's a very different thing. Maybe this isn't where you ultimately want to be. Okay, let's acknowledge that. But let's create the vision. Let's identify what needs to change. Let's make decisions. Let's take action. But in the meantime, let's live here. There is something available to you today that won't be available in exactly this form again. There are people around you today. There are conversations available today. There is something to learn today. There is beauty somewhere in today. There is an opportunity somewhere in today. Don't miss it because you're staring so intently at tomorrow. This brings us to the second thought. Take a break from worrying about what you can't control. Not necessarily forever, but just take a break. Because some of us are exhausted from trying to mentally manage things that aren't ours to manage. What someone else thinks, what someone else chooses, what somebody else says, whether somebody calls us back, whether a client says yes, whether the economy's going to change, whether the market's going up or down, whether our adult children are making the choices we'll hope they'll make, whether somebody understands us or whether someone approves of us, whether the plan unfolds exactly the way we envisioned it. We can influence some of these things and we can prepare, we can communicate and we can show up. But ultimately, we can't control them. And Marcus Aurelius understood this remarkably well. He was the emperor of Rome, one of the most powerful people in the world, and yet much of what happened around him was still outside his control. War, disease, political conflict, other people's behavior, loss, uncertainty. His writings continually bring him back to the distinction between external circumstances and his own response. One passage captures it beautifully. Thy present disposition of contentment with everything which happens. That is enough. Not because everything that happens is what we would choose, but because fighting reality doesn't change reality. It simply consumes the energy we could have used to respond to it. This is where I want us to get very practical. Ask yourself, how much of my energy today is being spent on something I can't control? Think about that. Because worry creates the illusion of action. We can worry about something for 3 hours and somehow feel as though we've been working on the problem. But have we really? Worry is often just mental motion without forward movement. So when you catch yourself there, ask, is there an action available to me? If the answer is yes, take the action. Make the phone call, have a conversation, gather the information, make the decision, set the boundary, ask the question, do the work. But if the answer is no, if there is genuinely nothing you can do right now, then perhaps your work is just to release it. Not because you don't care, but because caring and controlling are not the same thing. There's another line attributed to Marcus Aurelius through translations of meditations that I love. Never let the future disturb you. The larger idea is that when the future arrives, we will meet it with the same capacity for reason that we have available to us today. In other words, you don't have to live tomorrow today. Tomorrow will arrive, and when it does, you will deal with tomorrow. How much of our worry comes from trying to solve a future situation using today's incomplete information? We don't know what will happen. We don't know who we'll meet. We don't know what opportunity will appear. We don't know what we'll learn between now and then. We don't even know who we will be by the time we get there. And yet we're trying to solve it all today. Maybe you don't need to. I want to make an important distinction here. Being present doesn't mean being complacent. Acceptance is not surrendering your dreams. You can say, I want something different, and simultaneously say, I'm so grateful for what I have. You can want to grow your business and appreciate the business you have today. You can want a different relationship while learning something from the relationship you're experiencing. You can want a different home and still enjoy the kitchen you're standing in. You can want to travel the world and still watch the sunset from your own backyard. You can want to become a different version of yourself while having compassion and appreciation for the person you are today. Those things can coexist. Desire doesn't require dissatisfaction. I think that's an important distinction. Sometimes we are so anxious to get out of a season that we never stop to ask what the season might be teaching us. Maybe this isn't a holding pattern. Maybe it's preparation. Maybe you're learning patience. Maybe you're learning boundaries, or maybe you're learning to trust yourself. Maybe you're discovering what you don't want. Maybe you're developing the courage and learning to release control. Maybe you're being introduced to a version of yourself that could only emerge through this particular experience. What if instead of constantly asking, when is this going to change? We occasionally ask, what is available to me here? That changes the energy completely. Here's a simple exercise I want you to do. Imagine 2 circles. In the first circle, I want you to put everything you're worried about that you can't control. Other people's decisions, the past, the economy, someone else's opinion, the exact outcome, the timing. Now, I want you to create another circle. In this one, put everything that is yours. Your attitude, your effort, your response, your boundaries, your preparation, your choices, your next decision, where you put your attention, and how you spend today. Then ask yourself, which circle has been getting most of my energy? Because clarity often comes when we stop pouring energy into the first circle and redirect it into the second. I think that's really what today's conversation is all about. Don't miss your own life. Don't spend Monday wishing it were Friday. Don't spend August waiting for Christmas. Don't spend this year waiting for next year. Don't spend today waiting for someone else to change. Don't spend this chapter wishing you were already in the next one. Because eventually, you may get exactly where you've been trying to go, and then discover that you're already looking toward the next destination. You see, that's the trap. There's always another mountain, another goal, another level, another problem to solve, another thing we want. If we don't learn how to be present here, there's no guarantee we'll suddenly know how to be present there. Presence is something we practice. So here's what I want you to think about this week. Where would I rather be right now? Be honest about it. And then ask yourself, what am I missing where I am because I'm so focused on getting there? And finally, what am I worrying about today that isn't actually mine to control? Maybe there's something you can do about it. If there is, do it. And if there isn't, release it. Even if you have to release it again tomorrow. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, each of us lives only now, this brief instant. That's it. This moment, this conversation, this cup of coffee, this person sitting across from you, this walk, this sunrise, this opportunity, this ordinary Monday. Your future matters. Your goals matter. Your dreams matter. But don't become so consumed with creating the life you want tomorrow that you forget to live the life that's happening today. And take a break from worrying about what you can't control. Bring your attention back to what is yours. Your thoughts, your choices, your actions, your response, and most importantly, this moment. Because your life isn't waiting for you somewhere down the road. Your life is happening right now. Thank you for joining me today on It Starts with Clarity. If today's episode spoke to you, I would love for you to share it with someone who may be spending so much time looking towards what's next that they've forgotten to appreciate where they are. And please take a moment to like, subscribe, and follow the podcast. Also, leave a comment or a review. Those simple actions help more people find these conversations. And if you're standing at a crossroads in your own life or business, and you're ready to get clear about what comes next, visit pivotpointme.com. You can learn more about one-on-one work, mastermind groups, boot camps, or schedule a discovery call with me. Remember, you can look forward to where you're going without rejecting where you are. Focus on what is yours to control and release what isn't. And make the most of the life that's right in front of you. Until next time, keep moving forward with clarity, focus, and action.